Good evening and welcome to Middle School Parents Night. I am Nick Romero. I'm your son's Algebra Part 1 and Part 2 teacher. We'll be doing the whole year of algebra now. And just a little bit about myself. This is my 14th year already at Haverford. Goes by fast. This little guy here was 6 months old when I started, and now he's in 8th grade. So that's kind of fun to see him go through the middle school. So I know some of the pains sometimes we're feeling when our kids don't necessarily listen to us. I also have a daughter. She's just going to school down the road at SCJN, and my wife is also a teacher. I know many of you from last year. Some of you I know from seeing you around school. But I'm originally from California. So, anything happening with the Lakers and the Dodgers, great. I'm really excited for them. Has Rams down here on the picture, but actually, all my time here in the Philly area, I'm an Eagles fan. So these were some tips that the boys generated. I asked them, what will it take to be successful this year? And they know what it takes to be successful. All these things that they came up with and many others that were on that list. Exactly right. Getting their work done, asking questions, trying things. I would say one of the things I would add to this list that I've been talking to them about that I'm not seeing enough of yet is mathematicians communicate their thinking clearly. They want to get the answer so fast, they want to do it in their head. We're really trying to focus on slowing down and sort of communicating how you're getting that answer. That's just as important, maybe even more important, and when they ask me for help, I'm happy to help them. But if there's no work there, there's very little I can do. So expressing their thinking is really something that we're working on. And if you could sort of encourage that at home, I would really appreciate it. I wanted to show you a couple of the resources that we're using in class too. So we use a few resources, but these two are some of the popular ones, Desmos and Get More Math. So Desmos, one of the things we're using with this is it's a way for me to sort of gather information from them. And an activity we've done a few times, right, is to do things mathematicians do, right? We notice patterns, we wonder about patterns, and we make generalizations based on those patterns. So we've been starting with these different patterns and then sort of just noticing different things about them, trying to predict what it's going to be in the future, and then come up with what's the mathematical rule for this. And this really ties into so much of what we'll do this year when we start looking at functions and things like that. And then Get More Math is new this year. And this is a site where they can practice some of the skills that they're learning in class. Now, when we get on to Get More Math, at the beginning, they'll all be practicing the same skill that we learned that day. But then after a while, it gets into something called mixed review. And that's what this screen is here. You can see that there's all these different colored tiles. And everybody's tiles will be a little bit different depending on how they answer their questions. If they're getting a certain type of question right, they see less of that type of question, and they'll see more of the types of questions that they're getting wrong. So it's really helping zero in on those skills that need the most work. This is something they can do anytime. They can use Get More Math at home. I'm encouraging them to use it as much as possible, especially before tests and quizzes, right? Practicing those skills, especially the ones that they're having trouble with, that's going to be the key to their success. Finally, really just want to encourage the boys to take some deep breaths. They get so worked up over this class, and I get it, right? They're a competitive crew. They want to really do well, and so when they make mistakes, they really sort of get worked up over it, and they have to hear it from me, right, over and over again that, I'm not expecting perfection. That's not fair, right? Nobody's going to be perfect. Mistakes are going to be okay. It's a little bit of a transition from last year's 6th grade where they picked up stuff so quickly, where they were able to be in the lesson for a few minutes and ooh, boom, I've got it. Now this year, I am hoping they struggle with it a little bit. I'm hoping that by the end of class, they're not feeling like, boom, this is a piece of cake, right? That they're really wrestling with some questions. That's good. That's going to help their minds grow. But they don't like that. They're not used to it. It's new for them. And sometimes they think, oh, if I'm struggling, maybe I don't belong in this class. And that is not the message I want them to get, right? They belong. Right? I told them, as long as you're willing to try, to learn from your mistakes. That is huge. They have to learn from those mistakes. It's okay to make them, but then what do you do, right? Do you ask for help or do you try to ignore it, right? We got to ask for help. Okay, so we really want them to learn from those mistakes. You know, they're going to have some bad tests or quizzes sometimes. That's going to happen, right? How do they respond to that? Do they change sort of how they're approaching them? That would be a good response, you know? So really just encouraging them to, you know, like I said, take that deep breath, you know, keep working hard. If they're working hard, if they're doing what they can, if they're learning from those mistakes, right? They're going to get there, right? Because it really is going to be about that resilience and hard work and effort. I am so excited to teach your boys this year. We're already off to such a great start. And it is really just a fun class, right? Yes, it moves, but they'll get used to it. They'll get used to the routines. They'll get used to the rhythms. But anytime you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Please encourage your son also, if you see him struggling, to reach out to me. It is okay to ask questions. Sometimes I see it as like a sign of weakness, like, oh, if I have a question, it's a bad thing. No. Ask questions, right? Take advantage of the support that's here to help you learn. But I hope you have a great night. Thanks for listening. And if you need anything again, feel free to reach out to me anytime. Thanks.